Guys, today we are back. Today we have Xing, or some saying King, but I use better the Xing. Basically, what happened if King or Xing were warmed in modern days back? Basically, so many things will change. But first, let me take those tools. Now, let we begin. Wait a minute, I wanna you guys see more. Alright, I can't fix the border. Basically, here we can go further. You see that, guys? And basically, we can go more. And Korea's, they'll be first targets. Both Koreas being first targets. And this sends very badly on Korea's. First capital last, and second. Basically, they are so weak, so they collapsed. So, what now? Fully annexed Korea. Now, there's more Chinese letters in the Qing. Now, we can see that being here, and now this happened. China versus Russia. Basically, Russia, you already lost major your military in Ukraine, so it's easy to use Ukraine has distraction, but Ukraine got in this war too, so you must help now. He do the you sent it by Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia in Ukraine, major army, and this gave it Ukraine chance to regain all they needed. And this actually happened. Ukraine got all their lands back, extra Crimea, but were annexed away from them. And you didn't use all your army on Ukraine, you just used little bit, but were enough to beat Russia. Now, Ukraine, you started pushing inwards of Russia to the Russia. Ukrainians of King captured Moscow. This made you ask peacefully, and this happened. Basically, Ukraine, you did take those only. Wait, I already worked out the major needed country. Now, Ukraine, you grow really much and don't extra Russians lands. And King, you, yeah, you're taking a lot away of Russia. About that, make sure your oil is gone. there were major oil on those regions, and you lost those to King. That's bad, because King managed to gain more oil now, and more power against those borders. And basically, they are only now speaking the Chinese. Now, Qing, as more powerful, start rising plans. And basically, this plan were invade India and using this part India to get in because mountain mountain zone, and they entered by here too and captured the capital of India, and India were so weak that they surrendered. Now, King, you take it away lots of Indians' lands, but leave it India as independent. But India lost really much their power, and even their capital is in now King. King name is on Indian capital. The Panamas maybe. Now those two join it just King because they think it King is better to be a member state, and that actually did the king planet to make invasion, but he don't need anymore to invade them because he are already on them at Myanmar, or some more still saying Burma. I don't know why everyone's still saying Burma, even if Myanmar changed their name. Whatever, but you shine at the king now with Kazakhstan. Yep, another invasion. And this time entering here, here, and here of Kazakhstan. Basically, Kazakhstan main army is on Russian border somehow. They think that Russia will invade them next, and that's why they brought all their army on the border and didn't realize the king is more powerful than Russia. So it happened as a war against Kazakhstan. Now, King made really much moves as Kazakhstan army is already coming closer to the borders of King. That gave it King really much time to make pushes around of here and here, as these troops got on border of Kazakhstan military. Now they move at just a little bit more southern ways as Kazakhstan military starts rising up on King ways. As King continued they started making movements on here to make the assistant army using more this way, and they just evacuated this area because they think that this is more useless because their capital is online, but is here. Maybe. Let me look. I don't mind my stuff. Kazakhstan capital. Card or map. That's here. Basically, that's here. And they already lost their capital. But other major cities here too. I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this. Now, this major city were lost. And Kazakhstan, your army is on those regions now, trying cut off. But as you continued, you think about awakening those areas and using those more here. This made the king more chances to use those areas too. Now, king, you connected up with one troop site and cutting off richly much assistance and made this happen too. Now, richly assistant, you're even worse than used to be. Kings richly is planning to do you do this because you have only this entry now, main country sides. Here is one major city too, and as assistant started to move there, and king assistant is trying to get the major city away, but is on the halfway of both. Now there's interesting thing. Both are now in the major city, and invasion of the major city has been beginning. Now, some king military started whooping in the Kazakhstans, and some Kingians entered the Kazakhstan. Wait, Kazakhstans entered the king, but king had planned this alone and cut it off all the Kazakhstans who entered, and basically this made line of this and made Kazakhstan really lost more lands. And some military started the war there and just leaving the Kazakhstan lands to take away. Now the Kazakhstans changed their plans of they changed their border look like this, and oh boy, there's a lots of lands what you could lost there, Kazakhstan, and that actually happens. Your losing lands, really much lands, even so many important things, but you still hope you can still hold this coastline because there's major of your trades that lost, and this happened. Biggest circumvent on the earth. and that made those Kazakhstanians just changing sides. And then King, you're starting moving more inwards, and what you basically did made some distraction on here, but you planned to take this city away. What actually made the army moving more on these lines and leaving this city available to take away. And you actually did that. You made your pushes further. Now Kazakhstan got notification that that was distraction to make your losing more lands. And this actually happened so easily. Now Kazakhstan are all still losing on this war duty you surrendered. Now with your new borders, the king decided this should be more same way as the borders of war got on. So the king just stole lots of lands of you, and basically you had no chance to only agree of that. And now Kazakhstan, you even lost your capital. Now king expanded further and on more lands. Even 5 of your major cities has been lost. Now, as you beat this stupid looking, you ask this away of Russia and even applied to NATO, what didn't do anything because NATO doesn't exist. But let's say NATO just warmed up to stop taking movements. Russia even were scared of King. They lost richly many lands they needed. Now, Japan, you had to join King. And now we can see King has power. They even annexed the Kyrgyzstan and the Dagestan and stopped their border conflicts. And with Uzbekistan, you got notification by them, gave us those lands, and you don't get invaded. You had no chance to give those away. Now, those you had to be only on your state lands, one of state lands. Now we can see those borders changed really heavily of king borders. Pakistan joined king because he trusted the king still being China, and as well that means he want to be still friends with him. Now Afghanistan, you're unstabilized, so you just ask it to join too. Now those borders really much changed. King started rising more weight on the Europe way because let me paint in the Europe mountain. The block of Europe mountain begins as on Kazakhstan. This starts as here and moves to here, and closest Kazakhstan is being here. Basically, Kazakhstan, you're lucky all didn't lost your lands, because then the king will be in Europe, and if this happens, oh boy, Europeans start losing their lands then. Now, Ukraine, you didn't like those Russians, so you just break it them away as own country. But you had issues with your borders. They still wanted gave you some borders, so they just did that. Now they just made this its own independent nation, and Turkmenistan just let lands away. What made your borders has more king bordering you? Now we can see the king asked from Russia, could you be so kind and give us those lands? Russia agreed that, and little did he know this. Europeans didn't want this, because king now is on European zone, and that means the king could do anything what they want. They are even the world biggest country, and no one could stop them. This is king right now, and as they continued, they asked from Russia to join them, but they made Kaliningrad as an independent nation. So Kaliningrad, you're independent, but king expanded further, now owning all the Russia. That meant Russia borders conflict continued. Basically, those northern islands, you really didn't want all those king, so you just gave them away to Norway, United States, and that. Those here, United States, and those Norways, because I am too lazy to paint them in. Now, Kazakhstan, you had no chance with Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, to only join king, leaving only the king expanded further. Now, the newest nation of here, but name I still can't do, is just planning to be ally with king, not anymore with Ukraine. Now, king expanded a lot, and as time continues, he just annexed this. And actually, this were last annexion, even if this nation has get to be king's ally. He still annexed this, and the last annexion were this. No more countries annexed by king. Hope you guys like it and see you in the next one. Bye.